About a year ago, this girls' basketball game you see behind me never finished when Maggie Berger hit her head on the court and then blacked out. There was no athletic trainer on the sidelines, and Maggie didn't receive medical care by the family's estimate for about 15 minutes. The family asked what it would take to get athletic trainers at all sporting events. Since then, here at Local 12, we have been pushing for answers across the state of Kentucky. We dug for answers as part of our series, Athletes at Risk. Here's Gary Miller.
This is Rob Ullery. He is the Director of Outreach for Athletic Training Services for UK Sports Medicine. That means he places athletic trainers in high schools across central Kentucky.
Obviously, it can be better.
Ullery is also the former president of the Kentucky Athletic Trainers Society, so he knows a lot about the state of athletic trainers across the Commonwealth. High schools in major metros like Lexington, Louisville, and northern Kentucky are well covered with athletic training services. You can see the coverage on this map created by the Corey Stringer Institute, which tracks athletic training services in the more than 22,000 high schools across the country.
The problem is that the outside areas don't have as many athletic trainers and don't provide those services to those different schools.
That's considered the first half of the problem. Of Kentucky's nearly 300 schools, nearly a third have no athletic training services. Of the 198 schools that do have services, 82% are provided by a medical or university facility. Jerry Holloway has been an athletic trainer in Kentucky since 1993. His services have been provided by a medical facility. The second half of the problem is considered funding. Local 12 Investigates spoke with major healthcare providers who believe it doesn't make business sense to cover more rural areas. They don't see a return on the investment, meaning kids in those areas are less likely to make the drive to the doctor's office when they get hurt.
It's how do you make it feasible in the more rural areas? That's a thing I have, well, you have an issue with because you want to help people, but at the same time, you just can't take on the overhead.
Athletic trainers don't typically travel with their teams unless it's football. That leaves situations like what happened with Maggie Berger, where she was at school with only a part-time athletic trainer who wasn't obligated to cover the game that day.
The problem is with a lot of these schools that have the part-time athletic trainers is you don't get that full service. They rely on coaches, they rely on EMTs. It's really a flip of the coin of what is going to be available to them when they go to those schools.
Schools say they simply don't have the money for athletic trainers in their budget.
It is a challenge for some of these schools that can't afford teachers or can't afford textbooks or things like that.
They don't see the value, if that makes any sense. Well, the current ones understand the need for an athletic trainer, but they don't want to make room in their budgets for an athletic trainer. An athletic trainer should be a given. If you're going to have athletes, you're going to have medical needs.
High school athlete safety is the business of sports medicine. Gary Miller, Local 12 News.
And the average starting salary of an athletic trainer is about $40,000. We talked to Maggie and her family in March, as well as the KHSAA commissioner. If you want to watch those stories, head to athletesatrisk.com.